the thing that's bringing me the most joy is that it's not too late. We actually can reverse some of the most intractable problems that our society faces today. It's a choice that organizational leaders can make. It's a choice that communities can make. And that excites me, that there's still an opportunity to make sure that the moral arc of the universe bends towards justice.
You know, I think about my son and I think about the world that he's going to grow up in. And what gives me energy is to know, actually, there's a lot of resources and energy and power that is working towards this better future. And so that gives me a lot of energy. And the fact that I get to be a part of that with these clients and I'm a piece of that puzzle is really something that brings me joy.
Oh, for sure.
Hi, I'm Samia Mirza, founder and managing director at We-Collab.
And I'm Niiobli Armah IV, founder and principal here at We-Collab. For over the past decade, we've been working to reimagine, impact, and expand equity.
We're so excited about the work that we've done, but even more excited about what's to come. We invite you to join us on this journey. A lot of who I am and the perspective I bring to this work really stems from my family. My parents are immigrants from Pakistan. They immigrated here in the 1970s. And just watching them navigate these systems, learning a new way of being, is really something that has shaped me quite a bit and in the work that I do. I was very Pakistani at home. And then when I was at school, I was very American. I played volleyball. I listened to all the same music that everybody listened to. I felt and understood that identity can change people's perceptions. It was just a very eye-opening experience for me, and the first time where my two identities really kind of started converging. After 9/11, TSA laws changed and how we moved, and I no longer felt comfortable speaking in Urdu in a public space because I didn't know what people would perceive that to be. I didn't know the fear that might instigate in them. People are who they are. They have various identities, their gender, their sexual orientation, their socioeconomic status, their race. Then at the same time, the system, how it's built, who it's built for, how you're able to navigate it based on those identity markers really changes. And so a lot of the work that I do now is in support of that. Let people be the identities that they are without having to have more difficulties within this system that we have to navigate.
It's so interesting to hear your story, Samia, because so much of your experience, I have parallels, even though we grew up in different contexts. And so when I think about my upbringing, which is I'm from a completely different side of the city than you are. I grew up in the southwest part of town in A-Leaf. And when I hear you talk about your immigrant parents, it makes me think about my dad. He's an immigrant from Ghana. You know, he came to Houston in the 70s to finish higher education. But at the same time, my mom is a fourth generation Black American woman. Grew up in the CUNY homes and public housing, went to Worthing High School in Sunnyside. So having that dual experience in my house and then being raised in a community like A-Leaf, this whole notion of diversity was just a norm. Like on Good Morning, I experienced not just a variety of different race and ethnicities, but also class and culture. Like when you have a working class community, people come from different contexts, but everyone is like working on upward mobility. Everyone is thinking about the supports they need to be upward mobile and how the systems around them support them. And as I think about those systems, I often reflect on watching my family navigate those systems. Thinking about healthcare, my grandmother passed of a stroke when I was in elementary school, but we saw all those doctor's visits where sometimes her needs were met and sometimes they weren't. There's never a moment where we're in a meeting or we're talking about the work that I don't reference one of these snapshots in my upbringing in my life.
So much of what you're talking about is carrying that human experience into something structured like systems and laws and processes, but we're actually talking about a child. We're actually talking about a grandma in this community. We're actually talking about a mother, not statistic number, data number X.
Our lived experience is germane and applicable to what the dialogue in the room is, and I think that's really, really important, because in the absence of having that lived experience that's proximate, we're just making up textbook solutions for communities. So much of what we've been talking about today is our origin story, both for our own lives, but also for this company. That's where We-Collab comes from. it comes out of the space between. When we walk into the door with them, we're bringing over not just a decade of We-Collab, we're bringing our entire lived experience. This is a really exciting time for We-Collab because we're honoring our roots, and very much it's coming full circle. The same places that have carried us in our own personal journeys, like we now want to go back to those places and make sure that these skills that we've developed as a company, that we're deploying them. So I'm excited.